Hi, I'm Tim Sitterley. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the Regional Director for Grace Communion International for the Western United States. I'm looking forward to being there in person with you all in a couple of months. But in the meantime, I wanted to just take a little bit of your time today and check in with you and come alongside Kairos in some of the announcements and discussions that she's going to be having with you today. Now, one of the great pleasures I've had in the last couple of years has been the opportunity to work with your pastoral leadership there in Sacramento. The unity, the sense of service, the desire and passion for a vision and future for your congregation, it has been a blessing. As some of you may be aware, this has been a time of transition for our denomination, coming out of COVID, things that we actually planned to slowly roll out before the pandemic hit, we've sort of compressed a little bit, and particularly in the last year. There have been structural changes as far as what size of group we will continue to charter and work with. And a lot of those are just, they're logical, logistical concerns and questions. They weren't anything, we need to make a radical change, other than the fact that in many cases, it just didn't make sense. 5 or 6 people meeting in a home, we don't structure and we don't charter anymore. And that's just, and in almost every case where there has been a closure of any of these groups, everybody has kind of come on board and said, while it's bittersweet, it's time. It makes sense. I've had to walk through even some of our larger groups that could have functioned as a congregation, but that were traveling from the 4 corners of the earth, and there was nobody really in a position to step up in leadership. Your congregation, however, though, in working with your leadership team, there has been a clear desire to try to begin to come alongside where our denomination is right now with the Healthy Church initiatives that we started rolling out a few years ago. I had the opportunity to be down there a year or so ago and work with some of, maybe less now, work with some of your folk on explaining what we talk about when we mean avenue champions. What are we talking about when we talk about Healthy Church? How important is it to us that leadership be team-based, pastor-led, very important, but team-based. And so consequently, you guys are in a good position of moving forward in some of that structure that we have really now made not so optional as it once was as we move forward. A realization that we needed to be intentional about what we were doing. And you guys have stepped up, and I can't tell you how thrilled I was to hear the conversations of the fact that you had been looking at a new location, a new day. One of the things that I had made clear to your leadership and that we had discussed is that GCI will have no congregations meeting on Saturday in North America at the end of this year. In a couple of cases, that's a push, and there's pushback. In your case, you guys, it was organic. You looked at, you recognized, you found a location. You're able to integrate into a Sunday service with, as I understand, a couple of other groups meeting there. Wonderful opportunity. You have an opportunity to engage a neighborhood. Now, I've seen the demographics for Sacramento. You guys are scattered, but again, it's about engaging community. It's about reaching out. It's about being aware. That age-old question that no pastor likes to answer: if you were to close your days tomorrow, would anybody other than your members be aware of it? If you were to simply not exist in that community, would anybody even question your absence? That's a question we've all had to ask ourselves over and over, and we found that when we do make our presence known, when we do begin to engage community, we see responses, we see results. We also learned very quickly that, well, not very quickly, you got to be quite honest, it took us a very long time to begin to register that while a Saturday service may have met our needs, even well past the Sabbatarian issues. It may have met our needs, rarely met the needs of community. It rarely met the needs of parents of young children. And we have found no Saturday congregation growing anywhere in GCI. It just wasn't happening. But we've seen in many cases, and I had that experience with my own congregation. I fought the if the day doesn't matter, the day doesn't matter. I fought that for so long. And then we finally made the jump to Sunday, and lo and behold, the day matters. It really does. And it was at that point that we began to see growth, that we began to see and engage new people who made it very clear that they just would not have done Saturday. So you guys made that jump, and I am excited for you because it opens up a world of possibilities. Was it painful for some of you? Yeah, I'm sure it was. I have been through that, went through that, took a congregation larger than yours through that process where we had a location, we had invested time in, we had reached out into that community, and yet we were getting nothing from it. We were getting no responses back for it. But to make the move to Sunday to a different location in town, there was some growing pains in the process. And so I am so thankful for those of you that are sitting there watching this who have come through that process there in Sacramento. And I am excited to visit your location. I'm excited to hear what some of the opportunities are for community engagement. The second part has been we throw a lot of challenges out to our various congregations around the country. We have a structure that we don't talk a lot about, but it's basically a group of churches that we have thrown a tremendous, in many cases, challenge to. We've asked them to meet on Sunday. We've asked them to change locations in some cases. We've asked them to change their name and adopt a branded GCI name. We've asked them to adopt all of the church initiatives of Healthy Church, et cetera, et cetera. We have called them focus churches. We have called them vision teams. We've called them a couple of different things, but we've had a small number of congregations that we've really thrown a lot of these challenges at. And a couple of them weren't able to really keep up with that. And that's okay. They're healthy and they're doing their own thing, but they're not receiving that level of support. You guys are on the cusp of that. You have come through and already accomplished a number of those elements. And as you take a look at and continue to look at adopting the Healthy Church initiatives, Avenue Champions, coming to realize that the responsibility for growing your congregation is not and never has been the pastor. It's not the pastor's job. The pastor and your pastoral team up to this point, their job was to equip you to be the church. Not to go to church, not to have a church building, but to be the church in your community, to equip you to live missionally, to equip you to live as people sent. That goes against a little bit of our DNA over the years, and I'm GCI, WCG, Radio Church of God, for those of you that means anything to. I have that history. We did inward very good. We love each other. We love coming together. We love engaging. But that idea of, wait a minute, that's the pastor's responsibility is not healthy and never has been healthy, and it's never worked at all. And so the idea of engaging you, bringing many of you into leadership positions and roles that maybe you didn't see yourself in before, but leadership saw a gifting there and has brought you in and is working with you. As you continue to move forward into some of those Healthy Church initiatives, stepping into that tier of Vision Church may be a possibility in your very near future as you move forward. And I would love to see that. I would love to see you guys begin to take a more proactive role in your community. One final thing, and one of the things that Kairos is going to be talking to you about today. As we looked at our various church structures, we have found that we have had pastoral teams, and in some cases those teams have worked well. Yours has been one of those where your team has worked together in unity. Others, it's not been the case. And so the denomination made a determination a year or so ago, and this is part of the transition process going into 2025, is that we won't have pastoral teams anymore. Now, you'll have teams locally, leadership teams, elder teams, those that are ordained working together. Yes, we encourage that. But as far as representative of congregation to the denomination, etc., all of our groups, all of our congregations are going to have a single lead pastor. Now, in your case, Mike has been the point of contact for Sacramento for some time and has done a very good job of that, and I'm very appreciative of his time and effort in that. And then Kairos and Dave have alternated in various responsibilities, reports, etc. But moving forward, there needs to be a decision for a single lead pastor for your congregation. Kairos is going to talk to you about that. But I want to just do this before I turn this back over to her in whatever form this is being played. I just want you to understand that the denomination is totally behind the decision that's been made for lead pastor, the decision to continue to work and try to nudge you forward, move you forward. This is not just a question of me as a regional director. I've had the chance to work with you for some time. This is at the superintendent's level, at Mike Rasmussen's level, at Greg Williams' level, at the president's level. The desire is to be there to support the direction that you are going forward with. And I look forward to being a part of that in a couple of months. I'm going to be down there, if schedule holds, I'm going to be down there the 1st of November. I am coming down to celebrate with you guys. I am coming down to cheerlead if that's what you need. I'll bring my pom-poms. I may not wear the skirt, but I'll bring the pom-poms because I really do want to celebrate where you're at, what you've been through, and I want to thank you for your loyalty, for your patience, not only what you've been through, but maybe some transitions that are coming that may still feel a little bit like change. But I want to thank you for being the church. I want to thank you for being part of the body of Christ. And I want to thank you for being part of and supportive of Grace Communion International. Blessings to you today. And again, I look forward to seeing you in a couple of months.